Welcome to your profitable course roadmap. In this masterclass, we're gonna walk through the 5 key steps you will need to do to make your online course happen. And let me tell you this right away. I'm all about taking action. I'm all about getting into the motion and following the inspiration. So, my goal with this masterclass is to inspire you to take those first steps and figure everything else out as you go. Because I've been creating courses for a while, and I can tell you with certainty there's never a case when you can foresee everything that's gonna happen with your online course. You can't fully plan out everything before you actually get into the action and start doing. So, that is my hope for you with this masterclass, that you will be able to start taking those first steps and actually get more excited to get your online course out there. So before we dive into the masterclass itself, let me just give you a quick introduction of me. My name is Eva, and by now I've already been creating online courses for a decade. My journey in the online world has been quite an adventurous one, and there have been plenty of different things that I've been doing, that I have learned, and I've always been very into learning new things and actually just exploring different directions. That path and exploring different adventures in the online world ultimately led me to working with course creators as a graphic designer. Being a designer for course creators gave me behind the scenes in how actually successful courses are being made. I learned everything not only about creating the curriculum, designing the course, putting it all out there, but also about launching, making ongoing sales, how to set up great user experiences, and what is the key difference between those courses that make it and those that don't. Now I'm helping entrepreneurs to monetize their skills with digital programs. Either it's a course, group program, membership, whatever it is that you might be working on, I help you to get it from just an idea to a finalized and launched product. You can always learn more from me and connect with me on Instagram. You'll find me there as Course Creation Lab. And you can also learn more in my podcast called Savvy Offer Hub. You'll be able to find it in all the most popular podcasting apps. And let me tell you, podcasting is my absolute love language. I don't know why it took me almost 10 years in business to actually get started, but I absolutely love it, and I'm happy that I'm actually doing it now. And if you already know that you're ready to take that next step and actually dive into the course creation process, make sure to join us inside your course creation membership. Inside the membership, you will have the access to our resource library where you will be able to learn all about every step of making and selling an online course. Plus, we also have a community space where you can ask your questions, get personalized feedback from me, and connect with other course creators as well. Below this masterclass, I will have left a special offer for you, so if you're considering, make sure to check it out. Now let's have a quick look at these 5 key steps to creating an online course. First of all, it's the idea. You have to have a good idea, and you probably already have a few. We're gonna make sure that you're clarifying it and you're moving on with clear focus. Then we're working on your curriculum. You need to set your course goals and actually outline the content. After that comes the design, and we're gonna be talking about designing your course learning materials. Once you have them designed, you're about to record it all and get ready to set it all up. Now, let's dive into the first step of them all, and that is about evaluating your ideas and actually finding that best fit. So, how does a good course idea look like? A good course idea will be specific, it will have a clear goal, and it will serve a clear audience. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I have seen aspiring course creators to make is that they just feel like they have to put all of their experience and all of their knowledge in just one really good course, right? But in reality, it will not really work like that. And yes, there are signature courses, there are like bigger, more in-depth offers where you can add more, But even then, you still need to have a specific focus, you need to have a clear goal, and you need to have a specific audience in your mind. So remember that you can't teach everything in one course. Start by picking your focus. Think about the things you love doing the most. Think about your connections with your one-on-ones or with your audience. Where do you thrive the most? What is the topic? What is the direction that you actually love talking about and you would love to teach more? Once you have a specific idea, you want to make sure that you also have a clear goal. So this one is for you as you're creating the content, but it's also just as much for your actual ideal audience. They need to know that your course is gonna help them to achieve something specific. So whoever is reading through your sales page, or whoever is listening to you talking about your offer, they know exactly what it's all about and if it's relevant for them. Which leads us to the next point. You have to have a clear audience in mind, and this will, believe me, it will ease up the course creation process a ton if you know exactly who is on the other side. Because here's the thing, once you know who's on the other side, you know exactly what they already know. Where are they coming from? What is their background experience? What are their pain points? What are their challenges? And you can work with all of that in your content as well as marketing. Let me just quickly give you an example, and we're going to be talking about nutrition course. So your idea is to create an online course about nutrition. That is where you are at right now. Your experience is with nutrition. Maybe you are a dietitian, maybe you are nutritionist with a specific focus, whatever is the case. Now, my invitation for you is to get more specific. So, what specifically about your niche, your topic, you like the most? As I already mentioned in the previous slide, just think about what do you like to talk about the most? What do your clients struggle with the most? Like, what are their biggest challenges? What are the things they ask you the most about? And see if you are seeing some patterns here. So here will be just some ideas related to that nutrition course. For example, it could be a nutrition introduction for starters. So if somebody doesn't have any clue about nutrition, this is a great course for them. It can be a nutrition course for hormonal balance. So for example, if somebody wants to use nutrition to improve their hormones, you can help them to do that with that specific focus. And you can already see how different are these courses. So this difference in the content really is the reason why you have to get more specific so your audience will know exactly what to expect. And another option I have listed here would be nutrition for long-term weight loss. So if somebody has weight loss in their mind as the key challenge, you can approach nutrition with that idea as well. Now, moving on to the goal. So if you have a nutrition course, the goal is to learn about nutrition, but how can you set it more clear? Whatever is your niche, whatever is the goal that you're currently thinking about, think about being more specific. How can you name even more clear things, feelings, and just this set of life that your audience is about to have as they exit your course? So now I have moved on with the idea about nutrition for hormonal balance. And the goal for such course would be to learn to use nutrition to balance your hormones, have more energy, and lose weight more easily. Now, let me remind you, I'm just playing around with this topic. I'm not a nutrition expert, and if you happen to be one and you're listening to what I'm saying and you're thinking like, yeah, no, it doesn't work that way, I'm sorry, okay? I'm just giving this as an example. And to be fair, I'm basing this example on things that I see a lot on Instagram. So I'm literally just taking some ideas from mostly nutritionists in different niches and the things that they're talking about on there. And then the last, once we have a niche and once we have a goal, we're thinking about the audience. So who is that ideal audience? If you're working on a nutrition course and you want to teach them about nutrition, your ideal audience might be women or like women interested in health, right? But that is so generic and it's so vague, you definitely have to be more specific. So here as an example, I have women over 40 who are experiencing perimenopause. They struggle with their energy levels and they haven't been able to lose weight for the past few years. This already paints a picture of a specific person, their current challenges, and how you can help them with the course. Now, let me tell you that if you, for example, start from the audience and then niche down, then you think about the goal of your course, that's also absolutely possible. Maybe you have specific people in mind that you want to serve with your course, and that is your starting point. So if you start this list from upside down, it can still work just as well, right? It doesn't matter what is like your first clear idea, you can work it out from there. Now, okay, you have all of this figured out, you're excited, let's move on, and now you're thinking like, what is the next step? The next step is to test out your idea. And this is the kind of topic that could be a whole another masterclass on its own, but I will give you just some of the most effective ideas that will help you in the long-term marketing for you as well. And the first one is to create a relevant free offer. So let's think about the same nutrition for hormonal balance. What is something that your ideal audience who is interested in regulating their hormones and improving their, probably just improving their overall well-being with nutrition, how you can help them with a free offer that will be relevant if they also will want to join your course later down the road. So for example, is there a checklist that they can right now get and see like simple things they can improve currently right now starting today in their daily lives? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple for them to get started, and you can already see the level of interest from your audience. Whatever it is, either it's a checklist, it can be a mini masterclass, it can be, a template, whatever is your focus, whatever is your niche. There are many different ways to go about this. Usually a mini masterclass can do great because it actually introduces your audience to who you are as well and what exactly is your expertise and your field of knowledge. So they can work great, but at the same time, not all of the audiences will always love a masterclass, so having other options can also be good. So the goal with this relevant free offer is that you're testing out the waters, you're seeing if you have resonance within your audience about this specific topic, and along with that, you're growing your mailing list with interested audience. So once you sell, once you're actually ready to start selling, you will have interested email marketing audience there. Now, if you're thinking about right now taking the first step, then thinking about that relevant free offer might be the best way to go, especially if you don't have an active mailing list just yet. Start by considering that. And another option, and they would work well together as well, you can do a freebie and a smaller paid offer as well. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So having a smaller paid offer gives you a chance to have lower ticket offer for your audience to enroll in your paid universe. So if you are just getting started by creating digital products, then having lower ticket offer can be a great first step because you will actually explore how exactly to make it happen, how to design everything, how to record everything, how to set it all up, and you will have it there making some money while you work on the course. And a smaller paid offer, especially in this context, of course, can be a great way to test out your bigger idea as well. So instead of working right away on that full course, you might consider working first on lower ticket masterclass, mini course, or maybe a challenge. Again, it could be really anything, but these are like the most popular options. Now, just a quick note, don't fall into the trap of building something that you want without ever exploring if your audience actually needs it as well. Yes, you must love the idea, and yes, you must trust like your inner feeling for what will be the best for your audience. But once you have that shape of the offer figured out, reach out to your audience either through a freebie or lower ticket offer, as I mentioned before, whatever it might be. Connect with them and see if this actually is something they need. Now, you might have an idea at hand and you're feeling like It might be okay. Make sure to ask the right questions to see if there's something to improve. So first of all, is it actually specific enough? Where are your students currently and where do they want to go by taking your course? What is their goal? What goals do they aspire to reach by enrolling in this offer? And ultimately, are you trying to add too much information? Are you stuffing everything you know in this one course? And we're going to be talking more about information in the next step, which is set your course goals and outline your content. Before we talk about the actual process of creating your course curriculum, let's start with a few ground rules. First of all, if you can make it shorter, make it shorter. With the amount of information we have these days, it's your task as a course creator to create the path of least resistance, okay? If it can be a shorter course, make it a shorter course. It doesn't make it less valuable if the videos are not as lengthy or your audience can go through it in one evening, okay? If it's relevant to you and the information you're about to provide can be provided in a simpler manner, always do it. The same goes for the next point. If something feels redundant, eliminate it or include it as a bonus. So if you're looking at the ideas that you have and the content you want to include, if there is something that feels like a bit too much, just take it out. This specific masterclass I have redone at least 5 times. And first time I believe it was like 1 hour long and there was so much more information, but I also every time I re-recorded it, I just understood that it's just so much. This is not the point of this class. I don't need to stuff in everything you could potentially want to know. And this also leads me to the next point. If it's overwhelming for you, your audience will also be overwhelmed. Remember that less is always more, and your task is to create the simplest path, the path of least resistance for your audience. Now, the big question is how much information to add in a course. Do I need 5 lessons? Should my videos be 30 minutes long or 10 minutes? Do I need 5 modules, 10 modules, 7? Is it too much? Is it not enough? The thing is, there's not one answer. It absolutely depends on your vision, on your content, on your focus. So your task is to add the information, steps, and guidance that your audience will need in order to reach the goal that you have set for your course. The actual amount of content will depend on how in-depth you want to go, how specific is gonna be this topic, how many steps are you covering, are they reaching just one goal, or maybe you have 5 mini goals you're inviting them to reach through your content and through the action within your content. All of this will depend. If you are creating a 6-month group coaching program, there might be more content than if you are creating a mini course that they can watch through in one evening. One is not better than the other. We have space in the online world and in your digital offer suite for all of these kind of products, whatever it is that you want to be creating. Again, it absolutely depends on you. Which leads us to your first steps in curriculum creation. You want to start by visualizing the end result. Before you even go into the brainstorming or start working with the content, think about how you want this course to look like. Are you creating the mini course or are you creating 6-month group coaching program? If you're open to suggestions and you're thinking what will be the best to start with, I would usually start with a mini course, lower priced mini course that can help you to test all the process out. If you feel like you want to create a 5-week experience where every week there's a new content every day, go for it. And this first part is all about that. Visualize the end result and understand what is the experience you're about to provide for your audience. The next step is to put all of your ideas out on the paper. Any questions you want to include, any topics. Don't think about it in terms of lessons or modules just yet. Just put it all out because from there you can start organizing. And the next step is to choose the bigger categories, your modules. So your categories can be either topic-based or step-based. For example, when it comes to creating courses, most of my content is based on the topics. If I would be about to launch an online course about courses, which I used to have, but now it's all in the membership, the topics would be, for example, content creation, design, recording, marketing. And under each of these topics, there will be relevant lessons. Each of these topics will be one module. However, if, for example, you are a nutrition coach or you are a fitness coach, for your audience, it might be more relevant that they go through steps. And these steps can be, for example, week 1. In week 1, you learn about this, this, and this. And the topics can be mixed, right? Week 2, you're learning about this. And they progress through the course week by week. So in this case, topic-based modules will not be as relevant as the step-based modules. Again, it depends on your content, it depends on your focus, and if you're currently actively working on your course, make sure to join us inside your course creation membership for more support. I also provide one-on-one Slack support, so in case you're struggling with like course strategy or understanding like your next best step, Slack support might also be the best bet for you. And now going to the final step. Once you have all of your ideas on the paper, you have chosen the bigger categories, you want to start organizing all of those ideas from the paper into logical steps under each of your modules. And now, before you feel like it's already way too much, hear me out. Use platforms like Trello where you can easily organize your lessons and content ideas. Trello is a free platform, you can find it online, where you can easily put out all of your layout, all of your curriculum, and easily manage all of the content. It's the perfect place where you can easily play around with your ideas, you can gather all of your content, you can move things from one place to another. And when it comes to creating curriculum, when it comes to creating the lessons, always keep in mind your user journey. Where are they now and what it is that they need to learn next to actually get to that final goal. They don't need to learn everything from you, and that's why, again, we're like circling back to having a clear audience. The more you already know about your audience, the more you know what they already know, what they have already done, tried, and learned, the more you know how specific information, like what is the specific information you can add in your offer. And this is not about you. The course is not about you. You're not creating it for yourself. You're creating it for your audience. Think about their journey. Now we're moving on to designing your course materials, and I have to say that the next few steps will be a bit quicker because we're not diving too deep into the actual process per se. I just want to give you some guidelines as you are getting into this experience. So when it comes to design, you first have to choose the type of learning materials that will make the most sense for your content. Creating slides is a popular go-to because it's a simple way to get started. You don't need to be sitting yourself in front of the camera. You can record the slide with the voiceover like it is here, or you can record the slide with a small talking head video somewhere in the corner. Additionally, you can also consider talking head videos. And let me tell you in advance, like in some niches, for example, if you're like yoga instructor, creating slides will not make any sense, right? So you would want to just film your yoga practices and maybe do some talking head videos if there's like something specific you want to talk about. And slides will not really be relevant. So again, you just have to choose the type of learning materials that will make sense for you. And if it's talking head, do the talking head. You can also mix and match. You can have some slide-based lessons and some can be talking head. I usually prefer and suggest creating at least one talking head video, like an introduction, if you're not adding yourself in any of the other videos, so your audience can actually see who is behind the scenes. Additionally, consider adding anything else relevant, like workbooks, templates, maybe there are screen recordings you can do. Or as I mentioned, like depending on your niche, there might be other things that are relevant and that would just make the most sense. Go for it. And I usually love to track this and actually make notes of what exactly I'm going to be putting in each of the lessons. I usually do that in a spreadsheet. And in a spreadsheet, I have like all the lessons, everything that I need to do for each of these lessons, what is already done, and so on. But you can also track this in Trello, as I shared before. Now, designing process itself. So when it comes specifically to slide design, don't hesitate to use templates. Mostly everybody uses templates, and yes, eventually you will just develop your own template and you will just be reusing that for all of your content. However, to get started, don't hesitate to explore different templates, free or paid. For the free versions, you can always check Canva. For paid and more thorough template variations, you can check out Creative Market. It's a great space to just gain design inspiration as well. Now, the most important thing about a template, no matter what type of template you're using, is to brand align it. Never just use a template as it is. Make sure that you have your set of colors, your set of fonts that will always be reused through all of your content. And this is especially important if these are like your first steps into digital products in general. You have to develop that first. And yes, you can do it yourself. You can hire a branding designer for it, whatever is your budget and whatever you prefer to do. And when it comes to the workbooks, I also suggest using either Canva or Google Docs. And actually my preference is Google Docs, because as you're creating these designs, they'll be a lot simpler, because obviously like designing features on Google Docs will not be as great as on Canva, but they are a lot more functional than Canva workbooks. Because on Canva, you can't really create fillable workbooks unless you first create the workbook and then you use additional tools to create fillable fields. And for me, it's just too much work, honestly. I would prefer Google Documents all day, every day, even if it's like super simple. Now, the most important note about design is that your design does not have to be the best to deliver the value, okay? I have seen so many different courses that don't have great design like at all, and it's super basic and simple, but they still deliver the value. They still make a ton of money. So don't overthink this. This is not gonna make or break your course. Prioritize simplicity and minimal design to make sure that your designing experience is simpler, but other than that, don't overthink it. And if you want to receive some more feedback and guidance for designing your materials, make sure to join us inside the membership. In there you will find step-by-step guides to actual designing process, as well as like designing tips for the slides and how to create the workbooks and all these details, as well as feedback. You can share what you have done inside our community space, and I'll let you know how you can improve your materials step by step. As for the next step, we have a recording and editing of your videos. And I know what many of you right now are thinking. You're probably thinking that it's like the last thing you want to do or the last thing you could ever learn how to do, but hear me out. There are plenty of simple ways to actually get it done. And one thing I want to mention right away is that you have to give yourself time. If video making, if recording, if editing, if any of this is completely new for you, give yourself time. You need some time and space to just experiment, record and re-record, listen to yourself, edit your own videos, just see how that material works out and improve from there. That is the only way to go. I used to hesitate on video making a lot. Actually, for like the first 5 years of my business, I was avoiding it like as much as I could. And I had some video making experience. In fact, I actually used to work in like TV studio. So video making was not something completely foreign for me, but I still hated doing it. And then when I sat down, and it was actually in COVID times, when I sat down, I had the time and I was like, okay, I have to get it going. And the more I did, the easier it became. And like these days, I kind of enjoy it. It can still be hard though, and it's been a long time, and it can still be challenging, and I still sometimes re-record the materials way too many times. But it's just my own preference, my own process, and maybe you're gonna be completely opposite. Maybe you just prefer to record and whatever happens, happens, and it's perfectly fine as well. Now, how to actually record your videos. So one of the most important parts is to have a good microphone, and I have to actually say, not even a good microphone, you just have to have a microphone, okay? So if you're just recording, most laptops, the microphone of the laptops will not be that great. So if you have any other option, either it's the small microphone that you can add on you, or it's the microphone like Blue Jetty, whatever is the option, just explore variations and find a good fit. The cheapest ones start at like $30 and they're perfectly fine. If you're not going to invest in anything else, definitely still consider the microphone. And here's a quick trick that I used to do when I didn't have a microphone myself. I know that my laptop doesn't really handle sound well. So what I used to do, and this is a bit more of the editing process, but if you're recording slides, it will still make sense. I used to record the slide on the laptop, and I used to additionally record voice in my phone. My phone has a lot better microphone, so I used to just record them at the same time. And then when editing, I just added the sound to the actual slides. So again, yeah, this is a bit of a more complicated process, but if you don't have good microphone in the laptop and you know you want to record today, you're ready and good to go, you can try it out. Now, as for the actual tools to record, you can record your slide presentations in plenty of different ways. Of course, it's a bit of a different discussion when we're talking about the talking head, but as slides are the most popular option to go for, I'm focusing on them. So you can record with Loom. Loom is great for recording, especially if your videos will not be too long, because sometimes if the videos are too long, it can get a bit laggy. However, I love Loom because on Loom directly, you also can edit it right away. So if there are like any simple cuts like the beginning or the end you want to cut out, you can do that. You can also record in Canva, you can record in Zoom, and honestly, there are like bajillion other options. Just try them out, play around with them, see what works for you. And one other thing, especially if you're recording slide videos, one other thing I want to mention is to use editing features and editing apps like Loom, and you can also use a free tool like Clipchamp. Because here's the thing, as you record a slide video, you can give yourself a pause. You can, take a moment to take a sip of water and actually later edit it out. It's not that hard, it's just a cut. You just choose where to cut it and you just take that piece out. Of course, it's a bit of a learning curve if this is something you have never ever done in your life, but on platforms like Clipchamp, you can even go now there and just play around with some of the features and see how this can be done. Inside the membership, I also share more about this process. Now, the last but not least, and this is actually my favorite topic to talk about, and I'm happy we're at the end of the masterclass, because if I would have a lot more time, I would just keep blabbing, or if this would be the first step, I would be talking way too much about it, and it is how to choose the best fit platform. Now, I have actually added additional PDF guide where you can find comparison of different platforms. At the time of recording this, I don't remember the last time I updated this guide, but I do update it quite a lot because there's always something new with the platforms, and it is quite up to date. So I would check that out, especially if you have no clue about different directions, different platform variations, and so on. So you start by evaluating which platform will be the best fit for you, and I always believe in just finding your fit. I don't think there's one perfect platform. I've been doing this for a decade. I've seen most of them. I don't love any of them. Some are better, but again, it depends. It depends on your goals, it depends on your budget, it depends on the features you need. So there isn't one perfect fit platform, and if anybody's selling that idea to you, just no, that doesn't work that way. My personal preference currently and where my offers currently reside is Thinkific. It's great for starters, they have a free plan. It's easy to actually, get started with the initial setup, and the best part is that they have 0% fees on all plans. They also have built-in video hosting, which means that you don't need to host your videos anywhere else. You have everything you need on the platform. I was on Circle before moving to Thinkific, and before Circle, I was on Teachable. And as I mentioned, I love all of them, but at this point and in this time in my life, Thinkific is the best fit. I talk more about Thinkific in my podcast as well, so if you want to explore why I moved and just hear more about that, check it out. And once you're on the platform, honestly, it's not that complicated to set any of them up because most of them have like walkthroughs. They will show you like a specific checklist to follow to actually set up all the key elements. So you will need to upload the offer itself, you will need to create a landing page, thank you page, and set up some initial welcome emails. Now, most of the backend systems for most of the platforms will be already automated. So your audience will automatically receive the access as they make the purchase. However, it will depend on the platform. If you're having any struggles, reach out to me. I'm happy to do a quick consult on that. And one thing I want to mention about the landing pages. So the thing about landing pages is that you may already have a website, and if you have a website, you may want to build your landing page, your sales page there. However, I would still customize the landing page on the platform as well. So even if you're not going to use that landing page, I would still customize it because sometimes your audience can accidentally end up seeing it. So I would just make sure that, you cover the bases. Now, the truth about platforms is that most people spend way too much time choosing the best fit, but the platform itself will never make or break your offer. It doesn't matter what platform you are using. Focus on creating good course and focus on your marketing. And if you're having struggles selling, there are many things that can be done and many things that you may need to review, but I can almost guarantee you the platform will not be the issue unless you have set it up wrong. But in that case, also, there are still things that are audits that you can do, and there's always a solution. Now we have come to the finish line. Oh my god, I feel like every time I record this masterclass, it gets just a bit longer, even though I do less content. Either way, here's your to-do list. You have to figure out your perfect idea, outline your course, design your course materials, record them, and set it all up. I promise you, it's not all that hard when you get it all going. And if you're ready to get into the motion and get some more support along the way as well, make sure to join us inside your course creation membership. That will be it from me for this specific masterclass. If you have any feedback or any questions, reach out to me on Instagram at Course Creation Lab, and I hope to see you around.